Welcome to another episode of Objective Bias featuring yours truly. And before we get into it, like and subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and just fuck with your boy. Now, with that being said, I have a special guest on the episode today, a former colleague and current friend, Sergeant Stewart. How you feeling today, Sergeant?
Man, I'm all good. I'm tired, but I'm good, man. Tired ain't nothing.
Hey
Tired ain't
man, you out here, doing your thing, protecting and
trying to.
serving, as the episode will be entitled.
Mhm.
Um, But yeah, the reason I have you on today, and I do appreciate you coming on. I usually don't have a fast turnaround time when I reach out to somebody to come on, but you was on point. You know what I mean? You was on point like goddamn Steph Curry, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you shot
uh,
me a text. I said, "Hey, man, I don't get too many of them. Let me reach out. Let me get with my boy." So we
oh
all
yeah,
good.
definitely. I really do appreciate it. But
Okay.
recently we had a situation this past Sunday with Tyreek Hill getting pulled over by some officers in Miami or what have you. And instead
Right.
of coming on here and venting my thoughts or my frustrations, I wanted to have an actual officer, come on and, give a different perspective outside of a civilian's perspective. But before we get into that, I remember, of course, like I said, former colleague, we used to work together. I remember, I didn't know how serious you were, but I just remember you little by little started talking about how much, you were getting into the cop business or in the law enforcement game, so to speak. My
Mhm.
question to you is, has that always been a long time dream, or as you got, you grew older, is something that you started to, go into the direction of? What made you want to get into law enforcement?
For me, yeah, law enforcement is something that I always kind of wanted to do. Me being a former athlete, somebody who loves sports, who was involved in sports, always running. I wasn't too book smart. Always kind of figured out, wondered what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do something with the very least paperwork, the very least thinking that it was the very least paperwork. So
Right.
of course, staying active. So I was looking at firefighter or law enforcement or something, more hands-on-ish. And also I always wanted to help people and
Mhm.
big on Marvel and superheroes and certain things like that. So um yeah, I felt like law enforcement, growing up, even though we have different experiences and stuff, law enforcement, I felt like you had that opportunity to do that and stay hands-on. So that's what sparked my interest into law enforcement. After going to college and actually taking up criminal justice, which some of the stuff I hated doing, but
Right.
I actually started to actually enjoy it and learn more and learn some of the laws and figured out some of the things that I was pretty good at here and there. And yeah, took a leap of faith and went ahead with it. I struggled to get on at first after college. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was my driving history or whatever, but tried out for different agencies here and there, and none of them really got to me until maybe 3 or 4 years after college, and I was able to get my foot in the door. Me and you were working together at the time when I got my
Mhm.
first offer, and I actually got an offer from the state troopers, Georgia State Patrol, and that's who I was initially going to start with. And the guy had a different plan for me, and I ended up having a choice out of DeKalb County Police or where I'm at now, which is the sheriff office, Fulton County. And
Mhm.
yeah, I chose Fulton County, and I took that ride, man. And it's been a pretty good path ever since.
Yeah. So how long have, because this shit, it seemed like it was just yesterday we was goddamn chopping that up, having our little first take and
Yeah,
sports
yeah,
debates across from the aisle with each
yeah, in
other.
the cubicle. Yeah, 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 yeah.
How long have you been pretty much under the law enforcement umbrella now?
So, sheesh, it's been 9 years, man.
Sheesh,
9 years.
damn,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I think
crazy.
yeah, 9 years. That's a while. 9 years. Within this 9 years, I started off working in the jail. I did about 2 years in the jail. Um, After the jail, they moved me to courts. I did about 2 years in courts.
Okay.
After courts, the remainder of my time I've been out in the field, which we call it, or the streets.
Hmm.
I've been doing warrants. That's my I'm a subject matter expert at warrants, and
Okay.
that's what I love to do. So I I took on that task, and that's what I do now. I'm the supervisor over the warrant division.
That's dope. I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very interesting, and I'm glad I see it. You really have the mannerisms of a sergeant now. Like I can tell you, like you've embodied it. Of course, I mean you're experienced now. It's not like you just got started. So
Right,
that's
right,
why I
right,
really
right,
wanted to ask how long has it been? Because time flies, and you be like, man,
right.
what I'm saying, I just was just chopping it up with bro. Now
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah, yeah. Well, I
he
tell you
official now.
this. I tell you this. So when me and you worked together, we was in customer service.
Right.
So I say a lot of my past helped me with my future. Um,
Cool.
and when I say that, I mean I was a bartender and waiter before for
Mm-hmm.
about 2 years when I was in college, and then going to customer service where we was, and just
Mm-hmm.
learning how to speak and deal with people. It really transition to what I do now. And like I said, a lot of times I don't have to go hands on. I don't have to do a lot of things that I have to do because I know how to speak to people and know how to
Right.
deal with people. So um, I believe my past really helped me where I'm at now. So
Okay,
yeah,
that's really dope, man. And hey, what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Even though it's crazy, we get caught up in life and you don't really get to tap in as much as you want to. But
Right, right, right.
I'm glad to say that, I do know you, and I'm proud to see what you got going on, man. For real.
Yes,
Like,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
everybody has their own path, and whatever's their script is, and you just gotta follow it and just trust the higher being, God, as we say, and
Mm,
just, keep your head down and just keep working hard. So, hey man, I'm
right.
proud of you, man. Keep going, keep
I
that,
appreciate you. I
goddamn,
appreciate you.
pushing forward. And shit, my
Hey,
man, my
man.
boy's a sergeant now.
Hey, man. Hey,
Wow.
man. Hey, I'm not the only one doing big things. I had to check you out, man. They don't know you used to be a big guy. Now you done got in shape and all sorts of stuff. Look good.
They'll
You
be
take it.
trying, man. Be trying to keep the dad bod off me. You feel me? But
Hey,
you know how
shots
that
fired.
go.
Shots fired, man. Shots fired. I got my
Yeah,
dad vibe
you know what
going
I'm saying. I mean, shit.
on.
I'm just talking about myself. Shit, I was
Yeah.
before we even get into it, I was like at my heaviest weight like last year, almost pushing 300. So I had to get myself right. You feel
Okay.
me?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. Like I said,
Okay.
if you wasn't living under a rock, you are pretty much in the know of what happened this past weekend with Tyreek Hill being pulled over for speeding or reckless driving, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I want to kind of walk through the body cam footage that if most of us saw or what have you, and kind of
Right.
get your take, kind of see, tell you what I thought when I saw it, and just get your take on what was happening.
Okay.
So from what we saw when Tyreek Hill was pulled over, of course the cop came over and advised that he rolled down the window. He rolled it down halfway or a quarter of the way, gave his information and rolled his window back up or whatever the case may have been. Now,
Right.
with just everyday protocol in a situation like that, with the cop being agitated or getting agitated because of that, what is your take on what occurred in that instance with Tyreek Hill not rolling the window all the way down, rolling it back up? Because from his perspective, he was saying that he didn't want to bring in that much attention to himself, which unfortunately got brought to
Right.
himself. But of course, the officer himself felt a certain type of way and was agitated and aggressive. So in that moment, like, how did you feel about that? Is that like a normal action, or just give me, your feelings and thoughts about that?
So, um, after I heard about it, I kind of didn't want to look into it. So, being on this side of law enforcement, you kind of um get tired of hearing about all the negativity, man. It's
Right.
kind of depressing almost in a sense, but I mean, it is what it is. You got to face it and deal with it. So once I heard about the situation, I'm just like, here we go, here we go. And what
Yeah.
it does is it makes more and more people hate us and what we do and whatever we stand for. And my disclaimer before I get into it is, it's it's bad in every profession, man. When I say every profession, no matter what you do, you're gonna have good, you're gonna have bad, you're gonna have racist, you're gonna have sneaky, you're gonna have liars, you're gonna have whatever it is, you're gonna have it in each profession.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately,
Hmm.
this is a profession. This is a profession that you know, it's not. You really can't tolerate it. It's too much risk involved in it. So, That's my disclaimer before I get into it. So I'm actually, I know my eyes ain't really up here because I'm actually watching the video as we speak a little bit and
Oh
just
yeah, you
seeing kind
working
of,
over there. You
you
know,
know,
you
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sharp
yeah,
and shit. You feel me?
yeah,
So do
yeah,
your
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
So,
I
as,
need the I need that authentic feel. You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right. So I've looked at it quite a few times, but not I haven't broke it down all the way. But I can say this to start it off.
Right.
The rolling of the window, and this is what I want more for the encounters of law enforcement and people, because I want them to understand. So for me, I'm with the sheriff office, so we don't do as much. We're not full service. Well, we're on the brink of full service, but we don't do as much like traffic stop and stuff. But we do traffic stops. Well,
Right.
in this situation with Tyreek, I want people to understand it's a safety aspect on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many, how can I put this? And I know it's videos and things that you all haven't seen, but it's people who will shoot straight out their window to try to kill you. It's people who will, you can't see what's going on, especially in a dark tinted window like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
roll your window down, just for a safety aspect. I wish it was a understanding there that people would be like, okay, well, officers, we want you all to be safe and we want ourselves to be safe. So in this situation, it looked like it might have been a little bit different. It looked like like you said, the officer was agitated. He operated off emotions, which is again
Mm-hmm.
something that you really can't do in this profession because it's nowadays it's always cameras watching, which is not a bad thing. Cameras saved my life. People lie on me, all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah.
cameras saved my life plenty of times, saved my life and my job. Um, in this situation, it appears that he just got agitated. Tyreek was pushing the buttons. It looked like, but at the end of the day, he might have took it too far. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, now we're gonna get you out the car. You at this point you're being extremely aggressive. I see even when they got him out the car, they tell him to sit down. Like, why are you grabbing him and jumping on his back? He's already handcuffed. You know what I mean? So it's certain measures and certain ways that you do things. This officer just looked like he just off the rails at this point. He's just angry, going at everybody right now. But
Yeah.
as
Hey,
far as
before we continue,
uh
just off of what you were just saying as far as the emotional aspect, um,
okay.
I find it very, I guess, disturbing in a sense to
Mm-hmm.
where, like you said, in your profession, it's best that you keep emotion out of it so you can do your job to the best of your ability. But there's
Right.
a lot of times where officers, law enforcement will abuse that so-called emotion and be agitated with the civilian where the civilian is not trained to be in those type of situations. There's a sense of panic, there's a sense of confusion. And, even in this case with Tyreek Hill on the way to a game, he's focused on the game and now he got to deal with this. You feel what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like, is there specific training when it comes to dealing with your emotions or de-escalating a situation, or is that more so they kind of
So
give you that
uh,
leeway because of you're under law enforcement now, so we trust and
mhm.
believe that you will conduct yourself in a manner to where you are able to assist in these type of situations without it getting out of hand.
So it's definitely both.
Mm-hmm.
One, they do give you that leeway to kind of governor yourself, almost in a sense of how
Mm-hmm.
you are. Um, Also, we do have annual training. We have annual training where we go through de-escalation. We go through, and I know everybody say, "Oh, officers need more training and defund
Mm-hmm.
the police and certain things like that." But when I tell you all, we train a lot. It's a lot of training that go. It's a lot of training going on with it. But how do you, my question would be, how do you train for someone who lives a life, which
Mm-hmm.
we all go through things in life,
Right.
and then deal with a lot of things on the job? So our job, I would say, is very traumatic almost in a sense. You
Gotcha.
get, I'm blessed to kind of be in my mindset that I'm in, but everybody doesn't have that mindset, not just
Right.
blow myself up, but imagine this, Ace, you as an officer, and you respond to a call where you just went to an accident, you just saw three kids, a fatal with three kids, and then you have to go on and proceed, and You go pull somebody over and then somebody's talking trash, and then y'all get into a tussle where you had to take them into custody, whatever. Okay, cool. You have a couple good encounters in between, and then
Right.
you might respond to something where it's got your heart rate up, where somebody's shooting, and you got to run to the shots. And then everything calms down. Then you have a call like this where you're pulling someone over, and they're being, and it's hard to kind of get your emotions out of everything after everything you've been through. So
Right.
I feel like counseling is really needed. A lot
Hmm.
of counseling, which they provide for us. We all have, if you've seen something, been through something in law enforcement, they have counseling there for you. But my thing is, how do you really prepare for that? Prepare for somebody
Hmm.
that's seen and deal for. I'll give you an example. I have a guy on my team who he's going through a lot at home right now.
Right.
Can you imagine going through a lot at home and then encounter somebody that's you got? And let's be honest now. I defend officers to a T, but I'm also a black man, so I defend my people as well.
Of
But
course.
we sometimes know how to push them buttons, and
Hmm.
us as people, as black people, as white, whoever, we know how to get under the skin. And the way the world is right now, it's pandering to it. So you got
Hmm.
people who's just going to be buttholes for no reason. People's going to be like, man, make it hard for you. So imagine going through something in your regular life and then dealing with some things that are traumatic with people who's willing to push those buttons and take you to the edge. You
Hmm.
never know how people's going to react. So, like I said, this person right now, just watching the video alone, I can say,
Right.
okay, yeah, he should. I can go off the rail and say, "Oh, he shouldn't be in law enforcement. He deserves this. He deserves that." But who knows what this man is going through? And granted, he just put somebody else through a traumatic experience. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's kind of hard to kind of. He could be a really great officer just having a terrible day.
Right.
Um, but that's the nature of the beast. Um, I feel like the system has to work itself out. Do I feel like, and this is my honest opinion, do I feel like it's a end in sight? Not at all. Do I feel like it's a real solution to this problem? Not at all. I just feel like we just got to try our best to one weed out the bad because there's a lot of bad in the profession, but also two, again, like I said, he could be really a good officer, a officer for the people, love the people, but could be just having one of those days that
Hmm.
you know what I mean. So it's kind of hard
Right.
to judge and be there. You know what I mean. So
Oh yeah, definitely. And I get all of that. And again, that's exactly why I wanted you on this podcast because I didn't want to just give a one-sided perspective. You know what I mean?
right, right, right,
I'm really
right.
the type of person that tries to understand both sides. I was a sociology major, so
Right,
I'm really in the business of understanding why people act the way they do and do what they do. You know what I'm saying, or
right, 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 right.
whatever the case may be. So even with that, so okay, he took him out the car. Even if
Mhm.
Tyreek Hill was not, I don't want to use the word complying, being a little extra. You know what I'm saying?
Right, 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 right.
Um, and there was a moment where somebody said, "Oh, that's Tyreek," even if the officer that was, pretty much lit from the beginning didn't realize it. He had a fellow officer say, "Hey, that's Tyreek." Pretty much, he's
Mhm.
known football player, whatever the case may be.
Right,
In that case, and just kind of being mindful of where you're at. You're in front of the stadium. You're in Miami. You see a guy got jewelry on, nice ass car. Someone says, "Oh,
mhm.
this is such and such." In that instance, how do you if it because of course I can't say if it was you because you would know who Tyreek is, but if it was
Right, right.
somebody else that say it was a situation where
It's a
you
lot.
didn't know the person and you
Right, a
wasn't even paying
celebrity.
attention to the surroundings, but you have a fellow
Hmm.
officer that says, "Hey, this is this person."
Right.
Are are you going to change your approach, or would you recommend the approach being changed because of the officer realizing, oh, this may be happening because of this, or kind of dive into that because I feel like with him saying that was Tyreek it was a mild attempt to say it lightly to de-escalate the situation, be like, hey, that's Tyreek, like that
Hmm.
part of it, like. What
Yeah.
would you have
So
expected to happen in that moment when that was said? Hey, that's Tyreek.
right. So my thing is, if you're doing what's right,
Right.
it's not going to matter who you are. I don't
Definitely.
care if you're Obama. Shit.
Right.
No matter whoever you are, if you're doing it right, if you're doing the things that's right, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
So
Hmm.
um, you say things like that if you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
if you feel even the person that said it, hey, that's Tyreek Hill. He probably realized, okay, you're in the wrong right now. So
You're
you
doing
need
a
to,
little bit too
yeah,
much.
you're
Like,
doing
chill
too
out.
much. Like, hey, because to me, it won't matter if I'm doing my job and
Hmm.
I know I'm 100% correct. I don't care who you say it is. I don't, and I'm me and you talking right now, but you know how I can really talk. We can talk,
Oh yeah,
me,
definitely. You know, what I mean,
language and
we
all that.
keeping it how we need to keep
Man,
it.
I'm the most I don't give a F person in the world. But I don't give a F. Like, but I don't care who this is, they can still go get the same treatment I'm gonna give them.
Hmm.
Granted, I'm a nice person, I'm a friendly person. So I'm the type that laugh, joke with you. I don't care if you got a warrant, I'll lock you up. We had the guy locked up last night. We laughed, talked, joked all the way to the jail. I'm gonna make it the best experience I can. But yeah, in that situation, your status shouldn't determine how I treat you.
Hmm.
Um, your status is just your status. I don't care about your status. At the end of the day, this is what the situation is. If I'm doing things right, your status wouldn't matter. You're gonna have. I plan on having good encounters with everybody. My goal is to have good encounters with everybody I come in contact with. Which and this is what I'm gonna say, and this is the part that a lot of people don't like when I say it, but
Right.
I feel like 90% of officers have the same mindset and do go about the same way that I do, which is my encounters are going to be the best I can make them. They're going to be
Hmm.
positive. They're going to be as pleasant. Yeah, we're officers, so of course people are going to hate us as far as when we come, you're going to go to jail, you're going to get fined, you're going to get something. It's going to be something negative almost all the time we're there. But at the end of the day, we make the experience as best as we can and light as we can, as safe as we can. And I think most officers do that. I feel
Hmm.
like the media feeds and gets a lot of love off of the situations that are not. So that's why we see them more than not.
Hmm.
We don't see a lot of the good that happens. We see a lot of the bad. I can tell you from my experience alone. Um, Find missing kids, saving lives every day. Some of my guys do some great things. You think it get talked about? You don't hear about those
Oh yeah, of
things. I mean,
course.
every day. We're talking about every day. I had a guy who literally every day used to do so much amazing stuff. And I'm like, well, they ain't make the news. They didn't make a article. Ain't nobody tweeted about it. Ain't nobody. We pull over. I mean, I got thousands of videos of me playing ball in the hood with the kids. I mean, it's
It's
just
too
so much
positive.
good.
You know how social
It's
media is.
too
It's
positive.
too
And
positive.
as soon as I or one of my guys, somebody lose control of a car and accidentally run into, oh man, this officer don't need to be, you know what I mean? Well, check him,
Hmm.
or or he has a bad day and he says "f you" back, or you know what I mean. The person, it's just soon as something happens, you gotta walk on pretty much glass in law enforcement, which a lot of
Hmm.
times it turns out to be a lose-lose situation for us, which I'm not asking for sympathy. This is what they say in the comments. That's what y'all signed up for. That's what we signed up for, man. So you gotta take it. You gotta eat it. It can be emotionally draining, but at the
Hmm.
end of the day, you gotta stay positive. You gotta find your niche. My niche is my kids now. I mean, before my kids, it was drinking and partying, but now I got my kids. It's my kids,
All
man. I
right.
just go out and let my energy out on the bottles. But now
Yeah. I mean, that's a positive outlet versus the
Mhm.
previous
Right, 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 right,
the
right, right.
previous. So with that being said, okay, even if you're doing your job to a T,
Hmm.
even if he was okay, he got handcuffed. Do
Right.
you think, first of all, it's three questions
Okay.
that he should have been handcuffed even if he was being agitating? Two, while he was handcuffed, to have those forms of aggression being used, him being on the concrete, on his stomach. And then when he was standing up on the sidewalk, another officer coming and, pretty much putting him down and things of that
Right,
nature.
right.
He's
I
not
think
a
that was the
threat
same.
at
I think that was
all.
the same officer. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that was the same officer.
It could have been,
Like I
yeah.
said.
So, in
Mhm.
being aggressive while he's not a threat, and then third, when his teammates came, Calais Campbell to be exact, him trying to de-escalate the situation, trying to figure out something, what's going on, him being detained because he's trying to help out a teammate or a friend.
Right.
Was that necessary
So
in that instance?
let's go through each one of your questions. So
Yeah.
first of all, him coming out, them pulling him out of the car. So it's plenty of times I had to pull people out of cars. Sometimes, like I said, when it gets to that point, it's become safety. So my safety right now, and this is kind of where I think the world kind of hates law enforcement. It's going to be my safety over your safety when it comes down to it.
And that's just the mindset of just a law enforcement person, like your safety over that
Right.
person's safety in
I'm
that
gonna make
moment.
sure I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna make sure I get home to my family
Gotcha.
before anything. So if right now I have you detained and I'm like, hey, sir, step out of the car. Granted, I think they could have been a lot more patient. That would have probably saw, hey, because Tyreek like, hey man, I'm getting out of the car. I'm getting out of the car. At that point, they already had him and dropped them all on the ground.
Oh yeah, they
At
had
that
their
point,
mind made up by that.
yeah, imagine mind made up. Okay, cool. So now at this point, once you get them detained, and everything that happened right there, I'm not even mad at. I'm not even mad at the okay, hey, you don't ground. Okay, we got you. That's right. Now you talk. Now it's calm. He's detained. Let's calm the situation down. Hey, so yeah, when I ask you to get out the car and you don't get out the car, and then we're going all the extra mile, I get you, I detain you. Okay, sit you down. Or hey man, sit down. Okay, cool. You can stand up. I don't care. That's me. I told you I'm nonchalant. Hey,
Just you,
bro,
yeah.
you rather stand up? I have my officer gonna stand right here with you. Let's talk. What's the issue, dog? What's the issue, man? What's going on? So you can. I think a lot of officers sometimes skip that communication part, but you can talk to people. And again, it could be emotions because that same officer came back around. That's when you see him go and try to drop him down to the ground and
Okay.
do all that extra stuff. I think it was that one officer there. At that time, somebody else probably should have stepped in and be like, "Hey, you come this way," pulling the officer away and actually having that conversation. "Hey, Mr. Hill, how you doing? We want to know you were driving reckless. This is what we got going on. You know that you rolled your window up for our safety and your safety. We need to be able to see what's going on. X your status out. We don't know your status. We treat you as a human being right now. Yeah, we had to get you out the car because you seem like you refused to get out the car for our safety. So yeah, at that, I'm okay with that. I think he was probably a little extra still, but I'm okay with that. But then once you go and you try to sit him down and all that, that's where it kind of gets to the point where okay, now your feelings and your emotions are in this thing, and now you're taking it a little too far. As far as the players like Campbell, which is my guy by the way, shout out to you, Campbell.
Because he was an Atlanta guy at one point.
Yeah, he was in Atlanta last year.
You a Falcons guy.
I'm a big Falcons guy. I just at the pet rally the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I luckily thank God for this profession. I get to meet and hang out and chill with a lot of the players, not just Falcons, but a lot of celebrities and stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
get a little clout under my belt. But me and Campbell kicked it a few times. Great guy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably why he was stepping in because he knows some of the things. He asked some of the questions that you guys asked, and yeah, he tried to just kind of de-escalate, but you also got to know it's a safety aspect. At that time, we don't want nothing around us because we don't know how things are going to turn out.
Right.
We don't know who's got ill intent. Not you don't know who has ill intent or what's going on exactly in the situation. So to answer your question, do I feel like they did too much getting him out the car? It's borderline. I don't disagree with it. Putting him on his stomach and everything. It's ways you could have done it a lot better. But again, if you're dealing with somebody that's kind of being hard at that time, for your safety and their safety, that might actually work out. As far as forcing them to the ground, that's a negative for me. That's a negative for me. So we literally have to go through that sometimes with people with those emotions. It's my baby girl, y'all. Hey, baby. Um,
What's going on?
say say hey. So yeah, I don't agree with him getting put to the ground and being forced to sit down. And it's a way you could have talked to go to mama. It's a way you could talk to talk to people. And even Campbell, you didn't have to detain Campbell. You didn't have to detain anybody else. You literally could just use your mouth sometimes. And in this line of work, sometimes authority, some people do abuse their authority. A lot of them
Hmm.
do. I got a homeboy, I got a homeboy who that man is power hungry. Like he just like, hey dude, you gotta chill, man. Like he likes that authority. You know what I mean? He
Hmm.
likes being an authority figure, telling people what they can and can't do. For me, it's like, hey man, you can't literally have that conversation without being so rah, 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 rah. So talking to people, I feel like de-escalation, like you said, you want to use that word, de-escalation is big in this profession. Talking to people and being a person is big in this profession. And no, I don't agree with detaining Campbell, putting the officer down. Even the Tyreek thing is questionable. I can see, and if I'm the supervisor, I can see and be okay with them pulling them out the car. But at that point, now we're talking. You're detained. Once you're detained, it's nothing extra else needs to happen. We detained you. We're talking now. Let's have this conversation, get to the bottom of it, and then we can figure out if you need to go or if you need to,
Hmm.
what we're gonna do at that point. So
So I assume the detainment aspect of it, from just a person that doesn't understand that, is more of a safety precaution for you law enforcement officers, pretty much to just to get the situation calm, so you can try to figure out, what's going on, how can we handle this, and what direction we're going to go into.
exactly. So um, and I think that's one of the biggest things is that people don't understand that. And my dad, he's very kind of naive to a lot of things as well.
Hmm.
It's people out here that want my head. And you know me more than probably most of your followers and everything. I'm a great guy, man. I think I'm a great guy. I'm a nice guy. I have no ill intent in my heart or anything. But
Right.
there's people out here that will take me out just because I'm doing my job or I'm literally moving. I could be riding in my car. It's people that would shoot in my car. My wife's in law enforcement. She just walked in.
Hmm.
She's sweet as the devil. Um, Sweet as the devil. That's contradicting. She's sweet as all get out. um, she's sweet as all get out. But again, it's people that will take us out just for us wearing the uniform. So we got it. Certain ways we got to move. Certain things we got to do to make sure that we're safe at the end of the day. And like I said, I don't disagree or not mad at the fact that they pulled him out of the car, but it's the extra that went along with it that kind of like,
Hmm.
God, oh man, come on, man, you get we just got to move better,
Right.
as as a whole, and that's not just on our end. I feel like our people. I feel like when you're antagonizing or purposely being difficult to the officer, because that's the new norm now.
Hmm.
Um,
And of course,
it,
you're going to have people on the civilian side that are going to test the limits just
yeah,
to, have something to say, or hopefully
right,
catch something on camera, or, just
right.
have something to, put on social media or complain about, or whatever the case may be, just because of their thoughts and ideas of law enforcement from a general perspective. So just like you said, on both sides, you're going to have bad apples everywhere. Bad apples
Oh,
are,
yeah.
there's nowhere you're going to go, any profession, any company, any organization, whatever, however you want to label it, where you're not going to have, people that will, go left while everybody's going right. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, so my last question, because I want to get into some other stuff, some more
Okay.
experience related things. I don't want to just stick on this particular
Okay.
topic. Um, as far as disciplinary action, as far as in your opinion, I don't really think. I mean, unless he has, prior situation, there's like a history of, abusive power. I don't think that he needs to just lose his job, but just from a general aspect, what do you think should happen, or what do you think may be appropriate, given what was displayed by this particular officer, if anything?
So I definitely disciplinary action. Do I think he should lose his job? No. Again, I try to stress, and like you said, if he has a history of something where it's reoccurring and he keeps getting into stuff, which a lot of them slide through the loops. Like I said, we
Hmm.
see all the time when you go back and look at their history, like, dang, this man got 70 some complaints, and he's been involved in a bunch of racial stuff and this and that.
Right.
That's when you like, okay, yeah, dude, we to protect ourselves, we gotta let you go, man. You can't be around here. But again, it could be, like I said, he could be one of the best officers out. He could be in me. I've had days where I ain't violating nobody's rights or nothing, but I've had days where I was going through things and on my personal life, and it trickles over to work just like anybody else's. I went to McDonald's to get my kids some food today, and the lady was so nasty, man. I'm just like, man, come on. My wife went to Zaxby's 2 days ago, and the lady damn near threw the drink in the car, and didn't apologize. They didn't do nothing. So it's it's something that you just got to look into and investigate and make that decision. Do I believe disciplinary? Yeah, maybe. We talk about maybe a day suspension, or you get put on a duty, a beat that you don't want to be put on. You get rolled up, paperwork. But as far as losing your job, unless it's some substance behind it or a reoccurring situation, I don't really believe in losing your job. Like I said, he could be one of the best. He could be a people person, one fighting the fight. For me, I feel like I fight the fight. So,
Hmm.
if I had one of them days where it's just like, man, my bad, I lost my temper, this, that, this, that. See, we're in a profession you can't do that. So
Yeah, right.
it sucks, but it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
So
go ahead.
with that, I want to transition into like my experiences at times with law enforcement, and if you will, you can provide just some examples of things you've dealt with that
Mhm.
correlates to what we're speaking about today. I just know, just as a black man, a black civilian, so to speak, but mainly a black man, I don't know a homie of mine that's not in law enforcement that hasn't had their run in with the cops or been arrested or been
Mhm.
profiled or whatever the case may be. I've had profiling situations, especially when I was at Auburn in Alabama. Alabama, I'm
Right.
just leave it at that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And just a cop is trying to actually escalate the situation to where he could uses his authority or some force against me for no reason. So
Right.
I'm gonna give you like just two situations that I went through. Um, this one time, this was actually the most recent, and when I say most recent, it was over 10 years ago. But it's the closest at my age, that I can remember. But
Right.
it was after I was done, at school, or whatever. I came back to the crib or whatever, and I don't know if it was like maybe like the second or third year back from college, so maybe
And
like
you saw
25,
something.
26, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I remember getting arrested. Now, I'm not going to get into particulars because the case was eventually, or the charges were eventually dismissed, but I remember the cop had me in handcuffs, walking me back to, his car or whatever, and he literally said, "You better not fall or it's going to be some shit." And I'm like, "What?" And then the whole time he's taking me to the car, I noticed he's trying to trip me. And luckily, I'm an athlete, so I can I got good balance. But I'm like, I was just laughing, like, this guy really trying to make this more than what it is, so he can
Right.
do more than just take me to the
Right.
car.
Right.
So that
Right.
was one instance where, like I said, me being a black man, I've
Mm.
experienced it. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, we don't see other races dealing with what we deal with cops, and that's the sad part about it. Another time when I was actually at, attending Auburn in Alabama, we pretty much got followed because we were black. And what I mean is, it was this one night where me and a teammate of mine, we were, going to see some chicks, one night, during the week, like, what I'm saying, you know how to go. So I remember, on the way to the chick's crib, I was driving, he was in the passenger seat. Some cops pulled out of a gas station and got behind us. I'm
Right.
like, okay, I ain't tripping. My
Yeah.
shit's
Yeah.
straight. I'm driving the speed limit. I ain't tripping. But I noticed, the entire route they steady behind us. So I'm like, okay, are y'all following us to see if I slip up or some shit?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I made a U-turn. I passed my turn. I'm like, let me see if these motherfuckers really follow me. Okay, so they follow me. Let me maybe make a U-turn. Let me see if they make a U-turn. I made a
Yeah.
U-turn. They made a U-turn. Okay, they
Yeah.
following me.
Yeah.
Pulled into the neighborhood. where we was gonna meet the girls or whatever.
Yeah.
And before I got to the chick house, because I didn't want to bring the cops to the chick's house, because I know she's
Right.
following us now, like it's
Right.
obvious.
Right. Yeah.
So I just pull over to the side, like how you park on the side of somebody's house or whatever. Just so I just pull over to the side, see see what they're gonna do. So the
Yeah.
cop, go in front of us, turn around, come back in front, put the lights on. At that time, they run our licenses. Why? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, at the time, I'm like, why do you need to run his license? I'm the one
Right.
driving.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Unfortunately, my teammate had warrants, just like
Mhm.
not showing up for court for like parking tickets or traffic tickets, shit like that.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
the simple fact is, y'all followed us because we were black. It was two white
Mhm.
cops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and then there was I'm gonna name it was one where there's two situations when I was in Alabama, and another time I was actually picking up my girlfriend at the time. She went to this junior college outside of Tuscaloosa, so that's like 3 hours away from Auburn. Went to go get her, grabbed her. We on the way back, get pulled over. Right. The
Hmm.
cop said they pulled me over because the lights above my license plates were out. All right, cool.
Probable cause.
Can we search the car? Why?
Right.
Like, why are you asking to search the
Right. Right.
car?
Right.
Because you
Right.
pulled me over because of that.
Right.
But shit, I'm an athlete. I don't got shit going on. Ain't
Right.
no
Right.
drugs,
Right.
ain't no goddamn guns in the car. Shit, this is a
Right.
goddamn '99 Honda Accord. Shit,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing
Yeah.
going on. So he searched my car. Does a thorough search, right? White cop picks up like a seed or some shit. I don't know where it came from. It's not weed because I don't smoke. You
Right.
feel me at this time or whatever. And I'm an athlete. We get tested. So shit, that shit not gonna be in my car. Ain't
Right.
no.
Right.
So he pulls it out. He like, you know what this is? I'm like, no, what's that? This is a weed stem or weed seed. I'm like, no, it's not. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna do anything extra to try to agitate the cop because I already know what time it is. I already know where I'm at. I'm
Mhm.
young, but I ain't dumb. Like I know what state I'm in right now. I'm in Alabama. You feel me?
Yeah.
So he proceeds to say, "Oh, this is a weed seed or whatever. You need to watch who you have in your car. But, try to give me a little talking to or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, sir. Yeah, this, that, and third." And as I'm driving away, I'm like, God damn, like, bro, like, why are y'all fucking with me? You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
And
Right. Right.
again, it just goes back to what I'm saying. Like, when it comes
Yeah.
to black men, especially, it's like
Hmm.
we at some point in time get tried by cops for whatever
Um,
the case may be. So even watching,
this.
as we was previously talking about the Tyreek situation, like I don't know that specific feeling because I've never been put on my, my stomach or
Right.
nothing like that. But
Right.
I know how that feels. Just,
Yeah.
motherfuckers just trying you because you're a black man. So with
Yeah.
that being said, and in your experience,
Hmm.
like is that a thing that you see a lot? What do you say to that? Before you became a part of law enforcement, did you ever experience that? Like,
So for
what is that
me,
about if you could, provide a perspective or an opinion on that side of things?
so ironically, with my experiences, um, and I went to Albany State. Albany State, shout out to Golden Rams.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
we my experience, I have been arrested. I had
Mm-hmm.
a friend, and just to give you a brief synopsis on that, I had a friend basically in a club. He bumped into a bartender. She get mad, start cussing him out. Security comes behind him, yokes him up, and just takes him out the club. And all the police sitting out there, and of course he pissed off. He's like, "Man, what the,
Right.
why?" So they end up immediately putting him in handcuffs. And he like, "Bro, what am I doing?" I said, "Man, me being criminal justice man." I said, "Hey man, I got you. They don't got nothing on you." Da, da, da. He
Mm-hmm.
told me to F up and get away. And as soon as he told me to get away, he put handcuffs on me. And I got locked up for impeding, no, interfering with an arresting officer. I'm like, yo, like, y'all didn't even give me a chance to walk away. Like, uh,
Right. Y'all was
it
ready
was
for action. I
right. Y'all ready for just to like purposely get us, like whatever. But uh all my experiences and every run-in I've had with law enforcement, I literally um got passes from almost every white officer that I came in and interacted with,
mm,
whether it's traffic stops, whatever. All my bad experience came from black officers.
Yeah,
Um,
that first one, that I was talking about when the dude had me in cuffs and was
yeah,
telling me, don't fall. He was trying to trip me. He was
right.
black. He was an Oreo though, but he was black.
Yeah. You
I
can
could
tell
tell
the
by how he
Oreo.
was talking.
You
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell the Oreos. But now mine was straight black people. Like I'm just like, dang, dude, you gonna do me like this? Like, man, I ain't really did nothing wrong. I had one lady, I ain't have my seatbelt on. Oh my God, like that's a big thing. And I pulled back at my dorm and I get out the car. I park my car, get out the car. She's like, hey, get back in the car. I'm like, oh, whoa. She reaching at her gun and everything. Get back in the car. I'm like, oh, whoa. Get back in my car. And she walk up to my window and keep your hands on the steering wheel. Keep my hands on the steering wheel. She like, you ain't have your seatbelt on. I'm like, what? You doing all this over a seatbelt? And I parked already. I'm already about to go on my door. And you making me get back in the car so you can give me a ticket. Like, so she, like I said, she was a black lady. Like, I
Mm,
just had, I've had bad experiences from black people, but I don't think it's a thing where you just like targeting black people. I think it's a thing where you got proactive officers, and what they do is they try to find anything to make something. And when I say that, your tail light situation with the light not being on your tag. Well,
right.
where were you? You said you were where in Alabama?
Yeah, I was Alabama on the way back from Tuscaloosa to
Oh,
Auburn. I don't know exactly
oh.
where, but I was en route back to Auburn.
In your situation, they probably were bored. They had nothing to do, trying to look for people. Now I'm being real. They were
Hey,
probably trying to be proactive. They needed something to find something. Half the time, and a lot of people be like, "Oh, you just talking to me coming black." Half the time, well, I know for me, I'm speaking from my experience. I can't tell who in the car, black, white,
right.
green. And that's half the time for me. But I know for a fact, if you're looking for something, you'll find something wrong with the car.
Hmm.
Rather there's a light on the tag, people driving with their lights not on, or you kind of glance in and see, a seatbelt's not on, or something. So a lot of officers that's proactive or want to be proactive and build cases, they use the certain laws to kind of get something, to search your car or whatever, try to find some type of probable cause to enter the door. Once you enter the door, then you can go the whole 9 yards and see,
Hmm.
legally search or try to find something. Um, and that's usually the case. And that's my experience, just working with some proactive officers, knowing some proactive officers, just seeing how a lot of people operate. A lot of times they use the laws to kind of figure things out. For me, I've been on going on 10 years, 9 years. The traffic stops I make, I'm a warrant guy, I told you. So I look for
Yeah, right.
warrant.
Hmm.
If I run your tag and you got expired registration or something, I don't really care. If you got weed in the car, as long as it ain't no whole bunch of weed, I don't care. If you got a warrant, you might be coming with me. That's when
Oh
I
yeah,
step.
that's yeah.
That's my
Let me get
specialty.
that warrant up. Got that
Right,
warrant? Let's
right.
go. Got you.
I'm the
Let's
type.
go.
I'm the type. You blow past me speeding, I'm gonna pull you over. If you piss me off, I'm gonna pull you over and cuss you out, and then get back in my car until you get the heck on. Like that's me.
Hmm.
I've been on 9 years, maybe wrote 5 tickets in 9 years. Like
Right.
I literally, I just don't. That's just not my strong point. Not where I like to be at. Like I said, I don't like to be on the other end. Sometimes I'll do something just to scare somebody. If you're doing something wrong and you doing something crazy, swerving, I'll say, hey man, I can tell you've been drinking, man. Hey man, you need to pull this car over, call somebody. I'll sit right here. Like it's certain ways you go about things. I
Hmm.
feel like as an officer, and I feel like it's a different approach. I think if people were more people and caring of people, we'll get a lot more done. Do I think it's a thing though? Back to your main question, I I don't think. I think it probably used to be a thing where black people were targeted, but do I think it's a thing now where people are just targeting black people? No. Well, not from my experiences. And again, my experiences come from Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, whereas the
Right,
majority,
right.
you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I can't speak on Alabama or, even Florida or Miami. In Atlanta, we all black. Had 90% of the people I pull over black. And my county ranges, so I can go all the way up to Alpharetta, Johns Creek. So I can go up there
Yeah.
and Milton. I can go up there and do traffic stops and stuff. And it just won't matter to me. I think most of my encounters are just random more than anything. Now, like I said, I actually do warrants, so I actually have a piece of paper where I can tell if you're black, white, whatever. I don't care what you are. You could be a plant for all I care. I'm gonna come get you. So, uh,
That's
You could be a plant, well, you could be green as a
You
flower.
got that warrant, I'm coming to get
I'm
you.
coming to get you. I'm coming to get you. So
Uh,
that's I don't
yeah.
discriminate.
I'm loving this conversation because it's giving me a different perspective on just how, things could,
Yeah,
be from your side.
yeah.
So for me, I would say just my true feeling when it comes to law enforcement.
Hmm. I remember you didn't
My
like us, man. You didn't like us at one point. You was like, man, nah, F them.
I'm not even gonna say that because I
Yeah,
know we need enforcement. You know what I'm saying? Even when
yeah.
the whole conversation of defund the police came out, like I understood where it was coming from, but at the end of the day, we still need law enforcement. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
with that being said, just from my experiences, I'm kind of like iffy on, cop, just because you just don't never know when you may run into the wrong one because like I said, even though it hasn't been a situation to where I've been actually assaulted or abused by a cop, but there was a situation to where I felt like I was profiled or like that
Mhm.
one cop that had me in cuffs for trying to make it more than what it was, you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Right.
kind of like,
Sure.
I'm kind of standoffish when it comes to cops, but it's like I fuck with y'all, but I don't know which one of y'all
Yeah,
goddamn
right.
on some bullshit. You feel me?
Hey,
So
man.
what do you say to the people like me that have that like I fuck with y'all, but I'm kind of like I don't know what y'all like. You see a cop, I ain't about to really talk to you because I don't know what
Right,
type of time you're on. Like with you, I
right.
know you, so you know what I'm saying. Like we
I
have
would
a
say,
somewhat of a rapport, but if it's a cop, I don't know. I ain't really trying to talk
right,
too
right,
much
right.
to you because I don't know what type of time you're on, bro.
I would say go off your instincts because to be honest, I'm the same exact way. Even being in this, me and you exactly the same way. Even I could be, we might have an event or some type of serious situation or something going on, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of officers. I'm not walking around talking to all them officers. I'm like, hey man, I don't know what type of, I'm on the same thing you on. I don't know which one of y'all on that type of time. Like, you know what I mean? So I know everybody like, oh, all the officers stand together and they back each other up. Nah, I mean, we back each other up because we understand the hardships of our job. So being understanding that you always want to make sure somebody's safe and we're okay. But we know just like everybody, just like the world knows, it's some bad officers. It's really some bad officers out here. It's and granted, I feel like it's only like 10% of them because all the
Yeah,
officers I usually encounter, even the good ones, it's some good ones that they did everything right, and the media or the world feels like they did something wrong, and it just turns out to them being one of the bad ones. So, um, I don't want to use any specific situations right now. That's probably for another day. We'll do another podcast or something and talk more about it. But
hmm
it's I'm the same way, bro. I would tell you my advice would be continue to use your judgment, which is you can tell, you can get that vibe. You know, you can read
hmm
people. We worked in the same place where you can kind of read people and get a vibe. Like, man, this officer, I'm the same way. I'm kind of iffy. I'm like, hey, man, I see him. I'm like, man, I can tell this one. Look, I'd be standing right next to him. I can tell this motherfucker racist, bro. So I get that vibe too. So I move accordingly. I do my job. I do the best of my ability. Like I said, I can only really for me and my people that I'm around and um I know we're doing our best to one change the narrative, two keep a positive rapport with the community, um treat people like people, man. Like I said, I worked in Rice Street for 2 years, maximum security floor. I treated the murderers, rapists, all them just like they were regular people. I talked to them every day, and half of them were some of the best people I met in my life, personality wise. It's just that I didn't treat them like their charges. The same thing
hmm
went me out in these streets. I encounter everybody. My wife be like, "Oh, you too friendly." I like to be that friendly officer to build a rapport and let people see that it's not always that nasty, rah rah bad guy. You know what I mean? It's not that officer that the media portrays. We're out here doing things every day, putting our lives on the line, to create a better world. And I really hate the media. I do. I'm
Yeah,
on.
I
And it's
understand.
something, man. The media, because the thing about the media is they know how to. They're going to manipulate it to what they want. And like I
hmm
said, me and my dad argue right now about it, and he's like, yeah, the news said that this person, people were shot up here. I was like, Dad, I was standing right there. Like, nobody got shot. What are you talking about? Like, it's just, they portray and do what they want to do in the
Mm-hmm.
media. And the hot point is, what did the officer do wrong type thing. You turn on the news today, tomorrow, type it in, you're going to see what the officer did wrong. Man. That's just the world we're in now. So my job and my love for this job is to, and I almost got out of it during the riots and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
almost quit. I almost quit during that time, but I know my job and my mission might be my calling from God. I don't know that. Uh, I stay in it and I stick with it and show people the good and try to help out where I can. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's that I love to hear that. And I really feel like in me, I'm like I said, I'm really a thoughtful person as far as the way I think. And I don't there's always three sides to a story, in my opinion. And as we both acknowledged, and I believe, there's a lot of good cops. There's way more good cops than bad cops, but you just have the ones that are out there that just go rogue or
and
whatever the
yeah,
case may be. I
I agree.
think like with me, I don't like I've never been of the mindset I hate the cops. I just can
Yeah,
go off of, just what I've experienced and like the few little stories. I mean, I got a couple more, like I said, it's been a few just over
yeah,
time.
yeah,
We ain't really got went crazy, but it's been like, y'all tripping, you know what I mean? But I think there needs to be more conversations like this, you
oh
know,
yeah, I
and
agree.
then for you, which you are pretty much unique in the sense to where you can acknowledge, the faults of, your line of business, where any line of business, anything that you do, you're going to have, your bad days or, your mess ups or your mistakes or whatever the case may be, but it's more of the acknowledgement thing. And that's
Right,
what it is with me. I don't like the people in
right.
law enforcement that act like motherfuckers don't ever fuck up and they're
No,
always right. Like you
nah,
could have
yeah,
handled this shit a little
yeah,
differently. It could have been
yeah,
something different. You didn't have to motherfucking panic and pull out your gun and shoot or whatever
right,
the case. You don't
right,
have
right,
like, you know what I'm saying? Acknowledge that shit versus hiding behind the shield, so to speak, to
right,
justify your actions. You know what I mean?
right.
And
Because
I
that's
and
the
I do
thing.
agree with the transparency is more than it ever was before, but just like with society, we still have a long way to go with a lot
Yeah,
of, avenues of life. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
for this particular topic, we're talking about law enforcement and
Mhm.
civilians, but it's all about the acknowledgement and the conversations and trying to gain an understanding. And unfortunately, like you said, with media and just how people consume social media,
Yeah,
there's never really the conversation or the ideology of gaining an understanding. It's I'm gonna stand on one side or the other. You feel what I'm saying?
it's almost like politics. And like you
Yeah,
said, man, if that officer that did that with Tyreek, I really would respect him. Like right now, he pissed me off, but I would really respect him if he came out and be like, man, I was completely wrong. I was having a bad day. Like you said, taking accountability. Like,
it's just
that's not
explaining
in
your
my
side of
character.
things. Just
Right,
just yeah,
right.
dang, I could have did better. And
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
on the civilian side, we have
yeah.
to. I think what we do, and again, nobody's perfect, right? We
Right,
expect y'all to be perfect in your job, like
right,
like you said. This job doesn't really provide the grace or the space for emotions to get involved, but you're still a human being.
right.
So unfortunately, you are in a tough business because you
Look,
have to be
man.
kind of like a machine at times to turn off the emotions. Like you said at the beginning of the pod,
Man,
sometimes a motherfucker shit, you don't know what he just came from. Shit, he probably he or she could have got caught cheating, ran in on somebody cheating, could have just got abused, goddamn, just came from a gunfight. You
mhm.
don't know what's going on, but
Right.
but we expect you as civilians to protect
To
and
act
serve
accordingly.
and have no emotion. That's just what you're programmed to do in our eyes. And then that's like I said, we have to realize that it can't
Mhm.
always be that. I think that it just should be, it shouldn't. I think where we get upset at outside of the rogue agents, so to speak,
Right.
is the the senseless shootings or
Right.
the assaults on civilians that it didn't cause for it to escalate. That you just was on your authority figure shit today and
Right.
wanted to
Right.
go beast mode for whatever reason
Right.
and go overboard. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things where like, come on, bro, y'all have to do better. But then also we have to do our job on our end too. You know what I mean? So it's all about working together. You know what I mean? You know, law
Yes.
enforcement, civilians trying to get on the same page and
Yeah.
honestly, we need more, law enforcement people like you. You know what I'm saying? As
Well,
far as the way your approach is, your
right.
perspective, your
Mind.
willingness to conversate or, try to
Right.
figure out what's going on. You're gonna do your job, like you said. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care
for
what
sure.
your name is. If you're in the
Right.
wrong, you don't get these handcuffs on you. If you got a warrant, you're gonna go to jail. Now I may talk with you to try to see where your head is at and where you're coming from, but wrong is wrong, and I got to do my job. So I completely get that. And hey, man, you got to do your job to the fullest
Gotta do
extent.
it.
Just also remembering, which I know you have a grasp on just by knowing you and just hearing how you talk. Just that everybody's human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But you
yeah,
also got to protect yourself at the end of the day. So I completely get it.
yeah. Let me ask you this: can you imagine being spit on and not retaliated?
Yes, that's yeah. That's
You said,
see, there's certain jobs that I just would not be interested in, and being a cop, is one of them. Like
it's,
everything y'all deal with, you know what I'm saying, go through, and that's the part of it, like you said, that people don't know about, and just all the good that you do, and just from a general, just to, kind of wrap this up from a general point of view. Unfortunately, the lies are more entertaining than the truth.
yeah, definitely,
Negativity is
definitely,
more, people gravitate to negativity more than they do positivity. So,
definitely,
like all the
definitely.
good shit that y'all doing, people, even if it's out there on social media, motherfuckers ain't gonna click on that. Oh, y'all
Right,
doing
right.
good. Let me go. Where the
That's what you're
bullshit
supposed
at?
to
So I
do.
can be mad. Where the bullshit at?
Right, right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, so yeah, 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 man. But it's a good thing that, like I said, I appreciate you bringing awareness, and that's why when people ask me, because honestly, we really not supposed to do the whole podcast and media stuff. That's why I said, but I'm at a point in my career where I'm like, hey, man, I'm doing nothing but spilling the good. Like I said, that's what. If anybody got a problem with it, but I do appreciate you. You literally putting it out there, man. You bringing awareness to it and letting people see the conversation. Like I said, this is more what we need. I think eventually,
Mm-hmm.
after I'm done with actually being in law enforcement, I kind of want to go around and speak about it. Speak about,
Mm-hmm.
trying to fix what we can bridge and see what we can do to fix a lot of these things and fix a lot of these issues. And it's really, I think we actually talked about it before I even got in law enforcement, but about the lack of understanding. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really what we need, and I think you're on the right path and doing it with your platform. So kudos
Oh
to you,
yeah,
man.
and then I do understand why it may be frowned upon for y'all to get on things like this because a lot of people are in it for shock value. They trying to get you.
Yeah,
I got you, mom.
yeah, right, right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right.
saying? Like, see what I'm talking about? They're trying to get you on to be argumentative and go back and forth and have an
Right,
argument. But you know what I mean? That's not how my personality is set up. I'm more so about
yeah,
trying to, even if we disagree, we can agree to disagree. But as long as we have an understanding and we're both honest with our opinions, then
for sure.
we can
Yeah,
try to make shit,
yeah,
work. And I just wish more people were like minded, like
yeah,
us, and just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but you know how the world is set up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I lost a lot of friends and family due to my career, and like I said, I'm okay with it. Like I said, I never changed my personality. I've always been, the same person I am, and I'm gonna continue to be the same person I am, whether people like it or not. And like I said, man, I feel like I got a bigger overall goal when it comes to law enforcement, and that's why I'm in it still and doing what I'm doing. Because I could have been left, thought about
Oh yeah,
leaving,
definitely.
but
Hey, but we need more like you, bro. You know what I'm saying? We need more like you.
I heard that quite a bit. That's why I'm still here, man. So I appreciate you having me on, man, and we rocking out. So
Oh yeah, definitely. And I appreciate you coming on. It was an excellent conversation. Much
yes, sir.
needed,
Yes,
I
sir.
believe, like I said, and you pretty much agreed with is just, we just need more conversations like this. And, my platform, I sometimes I kick some shit, sometimes I bullshit, but I like to get to some serious shit when needed. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like to be versatile on my shit, you know what I mean?
Oh,
But
most definitely, man. Invite me again. We'll do a part 2 of this, or we'll chop it up on some sports on the next time and really get into it.
Oh yeah, we gonna definitely keep in touch from now on. Life be
Yeah,
life, and so like you
life
said,
be life,
motherfuckers, I didn't realize how long it's been since we really chopped it up.
man. Life is life, man. We used to have the good combos, man.
Right, right,
You
right.
still talk to bruh, my boy? I forgot he used to work with us, man. It used to be me,
Oh,
you, and him.
he's yeah,
Yeah, okay.
he's still there. We'll talk about that. That's gonna be
Okay.
a
All right.
personal conversation. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
All right. All right. All right. That's a bet. That's a bet.
Now,
That's a
with
bet.
that being said, anyone can talk, but not everybody can podcast. Catch you next time. We out there.
Yeah.